What if ghosts weren't people from the past, but people from the future?
Grandpa, what are frithlings?
It's late. The fire's nearly crackled out. It's a story for the morning.
Oh, but please tell me.
All right. But keep an eye on the fire while I tell the tale. So you want to know what frithlings are, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a frithling isn't something you can see.
But if you can't see them, how do you know they are there?
You can't see the wind, can you? But you can feel it, so you know it's there. Frithlings are much the same. Normally you can't notice them because they're invisible. They live between things and behind things. But sometimes they interact with the world of the living.
The world of the living? That's where we are. But if we're in the world of the living, does that mean they're dead?
A sensible question, but no. Frithlings are things yet to be born. They're like an ocean of tiny creatures, an unseen mist that permeates the whole world. Every tree, rock, bone and body is full of them, and we never even notice. But unlike creatures, they do not sleep, or drink, nor eat. But they still hunger. They are filled with a great and single desire, and that desire is the desire to be alive. Each frithling alone is but a speck, smaller than you can imagine, each with less life and less intelligence than a grain of sand. But gather them together, and they form something a bit larger, quite a bit different. But it's hard to tell, because they're like a mist, constantly blending into one another. Sometimes they will gather together so much that they behave and think like a person. In fact, every person that is, every person that was, and every person that will be is a frithling. You, me, my ancestors, your children. Frithlings are ghosts of what we will become.
But how do they make themselves live then?
Well, they must enter a suitable vessel, a body that contains the essence of life, like a seed or a newborn. And sometimes the frithlings will gather in a great swarm, because when they do so, they have the power to move things. We call these swarms of frithlings swathes.
Sounds scary.
Don't be scared. They cannot move much. And they spend most of their time making people fall in love, so that the couple can have a child and the frithling can be born. I remember when I was a young man. I was walking along when I heard a stone scrape along the ground. It was a windless day, so I looked in the direction of the stone, and just beyond it saw the most beautiful sight in the world.
What was it, Grandpa?
It was a young woman, and I fell immediately in love. And years later, that woman would become your grandmother.
Wow. I want frithlings to move stones around me and make me fall in love.
Don't wish for things you might regret. Frithlings, like everything in the world, can do harm as well as good. Do you remember your aunt who had a stillborn baby?
Mm-hmm. It was born dead, wasn't it?
It was, but it could have lived. It's likely two swathes were fighting over which would get to be born into that body, and neither of them did.
Do frithlings often fight?
Often enough that things that could be alive end up not being so. But they can't help it. It's that unquenchable desire to be alive that drives their actions. So they aren't evil or bad, just like the wind or the rain. But because they're driven by this constant hunger, they're always on the lookout for ways to be born. That's why when someone gets sick, we put seeds next to them. When the body is weak, a new frithling or swathe might try to join or kick out the ones in the body. But if there are seeds nearby, they can be fooled into going into them instead. But you know it sometimes doesn't work. And that's why after a grave illness or injury, a person can have a different personality. Each swathe has a personality, and the body they inhabit will have some of that personality. But if the body is damaged, the swathe might lose some members, or gain some, changing the balance of a person's personality. This can also happen at moments of great emotion, like grief or triumph or vengeance or ecstasy, because at those moments, the frithlings inside someone are so saturated with living experience that they can let go of the body and leave.
What does ecstasy mean?
You'll find out when you're older.
Okay. Do frithlings do anything else?
Oh yes. Sometimes a swathe will be so great that it cannot all fit into one person, so it splits and goes into two people. These are the people you'll meet in life, who you form an instant and deep friendship with. because you used to be a single essence in a great swathe of frithlings before you both were born. Frithlings also explain why some people seem old when they are very young. This usually happens when a swathe's appetite for life hasn't been satisfied, so it tries to be born again, and carries with it the experiences of its prior life. A person born this way has no memory of his past life, but the way they move and speak belies experience that they couldn't possibly have had. You don't want to die, do you?
Of course not.
Why do you think that is?
Nobody wants to die, because dying is bad.
Dying is a normal part of life. Everything dies eventually. But this instinct we have to reject death and avoid it comes from the frithlings. The only thing they want is to be alive, which explains why we are so averse to death.
Did you see a fritling ever? Like, not as a wind or a rock, but as the mist, like you said?
I have. Many times, actually. I even saw the fritling who became you.
What?
But that's a story for the morning. Go on, off to sleep.
But Grandpa, please.
No, I told you one story tonight already. This one we'll save for the morning.
Okay. Night-night, Grandpa.
Rest well, little one.
This is a world-building collaboration with Ewa of Worldbuilding Notes, Haunted Automaton, and Nakari Spearedane. All of us made a video off the prompt, what if ghosts weren't people from the past, but people from the future, so check out theirs too via the links in the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't like and don't subscribe. However, do like and do subscribe to Worldbuilding Notes, Haunted Automaton, and Nakari Spearedane.